As we told you off the top, it is primary day in America, Alaska and Wyoming, and it could mark the end of Congresswoman Liz Cheney's political career. Cheney is expected to lose to Trump-endorsed candidate Harriet Hageman, an attorney. Cheney's popularity among Republicans has plummeted since voting to impeach former President Donald Trump and leading the January 6th committee. And even Democrats who prefer Cheney over Hageman say it's probably the end of her career in politics for now. And I say for now because there are rumors that she may want to throw her hat in the ring for 2024, John.
Well, let's talk more about Wyoming and Alaska politics. And as it comes to Alaska specifically, we got Sarah Palin. She's just one of the several candidates there competing in a special election in a primary to replace the late Don Young for that state's lone congressional seat. We also have to talk about the Senate primary there. Incumbent Lisa Murkowski, who voted to impeach President Trump, is up against challenger Kelly Tshibaka. Now, if Murkowski loses, she could still win. She's done that before. It's Alaska, it's Wyoming, it's Liz Cheney on her way out. Sarah Palin, maybe on her way in. Joining us now for more on this is New York Times bestselling author of Game Change, Newsmax political analyst Mark Halperin. Great to have you with us, Mark.
John, I assume the Game Change reference is because Sarah Palin plays a role in the book.
A small, like almost like a cameo role in the book. So that leads me to my first question. I'm curious, how much time have you actually spent in Alaska, Mark?
I went to Alaska on vacation. By coincidence, I arrived the very night Sarah Palin won her gubernatorial nomination for her first run for that office. And then I ran into her at the State Fair at Palmer, Alaska.
Wow.
So I've had one long trip and lots of Palin time.
It was Kismet, I guess. But we want to get your take on Liz Cheney first in the Hageman race in Wyoming. You know, there's some talk about maybe her running for president at some point. Is there any career path in Washington, D.C. left for Liz Cheney other than maybe a defense contractor on K Street?
Well, I think maybe American Enterprise Institute or some other conservative think tank might also have her in. Her dad and her mom have all had associations with various think tanks like that. It's going to be fascinating to see her speech tonight. Her team has touted her remarks. As I said earlier, I think she's probably spent more time on her concession speech than her victory speech. But how does she spend the rest of this Congress? Of course, she'll be active in the January 6th committee. And I think a lot of Democrats who've given her money, who might vote for her tonight, who've been supportive of her, might get a fresh reminder if they look at her voting record that with few exceptions, she's been a pretty conservative member of Congress. And so we'll see where she channels her energies after this. Besides January 6th and trying to stop Donald Trump from being president, what else does she work on?
No, I know because you're so skilled. You laid that last line in there because you're teasing ahead to my data that doesn't matter. But let's go to your data that does matter first. And the other race in Alaska, the one not with Sarah Palin in it. Talk to us about that. Your data that matter is 4. Tell us why.
So Alaska has this unusual system. Tonight in the Senate primary, everybody's on the ballot at once, regardless of party. And the top 4 candidates go on the ballot in November, and then it's ranked choice voting. So you get your first choice votes, and then the bottom finishers eliminated, and they distribute the votes second, third, fourth. Lisa Murkowski, I think even by her own admission, could not win a Republican primary. And Donald Trump has targeted folks in Republican primaries and beaten a large number of those he'd wanted to beat. He's not going to beat her tonight. She'll be in the top 4. She may even be the biggest vote getter. And then come the fall, November, anyone in Alaska can vote for her. And she's very popular with independents. She's very popular with Democrats. I suspect she'll be reelected. It'll be one of President Trump's failures. And she's in the mold of what Alaska's elected in the past. Longtime legislators, tons of decades in Washington with the capacity to bring home the salmon.
Bring home the salmon. Somewhere Ted Stevens is looking down with approval to that comment. All right, my data that matters now is this Morning Consult Politico poll that shows following the Mar-a-Lago raid, Trump now got a 10-point boost over Ron DeSantis with likely GOP primary voters. This was done on August 10th after the raid, but before we found out about what was in the warrant. So based on your estimation, Mark, your ability to read trend lines, is this now a bigger differential or less than it was when this poll was taken? Because I don't think that what's in the warrant, nothing has helped with the perception that Donald Trump is being railroaded here.
Yeah, I mean, I floated a hypothetical in my newsletter this morning. Imagine if a Democrat administration, or rather a Republican administration, Attorney General, had raided Hillary Clinton's house, taken documents, and then suggested they were on the path to indicting her, how the media would be reacting. Well, we know how the conservative media has been reacting. They've raised the alarm about this. And I don't think it's any surprise that Donald Trump has benefited from it politically and continues to milk it for fundraising and political support. And if the facts don't change, I thought before all this he was the consensus clear favorite to be the Republican nominee. I think this has only solidified that, with the big asterisks and caveat if the facts don't change.
All right, we're going to go through the lightning round here for the data that does not matter. And I said 90%. That's the number of times that Liz Cheney voted lockstep with President Trump. But it doesn't matter if it's 100%. When you come out in support of impeachment and you're the face of the 1-6 committee, it doesn't matter. And we got your data that doesn't matter, Mark. What do you got for us?
Well, what the margin of victory is tonight for her opponent, whether she loses by 2 points or 32 points, it doesn't matter. She's going to have to give up her House seat, and she'll have been repudiated, not just by Donald Trump, but by the voters of her own state. And people will be interested in the margin, but I think a loss will be a loss, and it'll be fascinating to see how she turns that in her speech tonight and for the rest of this year.
Mark Halperin, always great to see you. Pick up your copy of Game Change and Double Down, available at fine bookstores everywhere. Thanks, Mark.
Finest bookstores. Thank you, John.